I talk a lot about being intentional with what you're doing. And I want to go into the morning meetings. So during the morning meetings, the way that I like to start it is I like to have people share stories, whether it's just hype stories, funny stories, gets everybody laughing, stories that are inspirational that like just push somebody to go work harder. And if you just open it up and say, "Hey, so what stories do we have? Anybody have a funny story or a good story from yesterday?" Then you just get this broad slew of stories that sometimes don't tell the story that you are wanting to go tell. So if you go into a morning meeting and you understand, what am I trying to push? What am I trying to incentivize? Which it changes throughout the whole summer. It changes based on the season of the summer, whether it's like the beginning, the middle, or the end. And it also changes based on who you have there. And so if your goal is, for example, to help people start pushing 3 to 5 objections after price, then what I would do is maybe go listen to a couple stories of people that got sales and go listen to their stories and see if they were give me's or see quote unquote give me's or see how hard they actually had to go push. And then when you get up there, then you ask the question, does anybody have any good stories that where they had to go fight for a sale and they got it? And when you ask that question, rather than does anybody have any good stories, then two things. One, you get a story that leads to a sale, which I am a massive fan of that. I'm not a fan of the stories that are like, yeah, I didn't get the sale, but it was kind of cool. That's one thing. And then two is I'm a massive fan of telling the story that inspires others to go take action on what you're trying to go push. So it's 3 objections after price or 7 objections after price or knocking late. If you're starting to go push and it's starting to get dark later and later, then go have people tell stories of that. So sometimes you have to prep, sometimes you don't. But if you can phrase the question correctly, then you get different stories. And what happens, it is amazing. That next day, people will start thinking about that. It's like, this rookie, yeah, like tell me, does anybody have any stories? You sold 2 yesterday. I already talked to him previously. And it's like, you sold 2 yesterday. What tell me about that sale that you got late at night where you said that you were like fighting for like 25 minutes trying to get the sale. He's like, "Oh yeah, I did like 7 objections after price. We like called the wife. I went through like 20 objections after price with her afterwards, and then finally got him down. I did a second price drop, and I finally got him sold on the Carpenter Bees, and yeah, it was at like 925. So like that's a cool story. But if you can go prep it and you can go talk to them beforehand, and honestly, sometimes even say, "Hey, I'm going to go ask for stories. I would love for you to go tell that of how you worked really, really hard and how you just pushed through multiple objections after price." And when you can go do that, or when you're talking to somebody that got 5, 7 sales yesterday, you can say, "Hey, how many of those sales did you at least have to overcome 3 objections after price to go get, or 5 objections after price to go get?" And once you start leading that and you can have the knowledge beforehand, you can talk to them beforehand, then you control the culture of the office, one, but two, you get to go dictate indirectly what those sales reps are going to go focus on the next day. Because if they just saw that everybody that got sales today or yesterday, they pushed through multiple objections, they're like, "Oh yeah, turns out it's true." And so it's like the voice of multiple witnesses, and they start to believe you.